Have you ever asked yourself, DVC, is it for me? We give you some food for thought on that topic. Plus, I survived 626. Let's bring back the magic.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.
Oh, yeah. Love that song every time. Welcome to another episode of Bring Back the Magic podcast. This episode, of course, is brought to you, as always, by Theme Park Chuckle. Go on Theme Park Chuckle and grab you a Disney-based t-shirt or two, all humor ones, of course. And this one is the Trader Sam's Diabetes Tiki Bar. With drinks this sweet, you'll lose your feet. Check it out at themeparkchuckle.com. I am one of your hosts. I'm Josh.
And I am his sister, Gina. And for those of you just joining us, welcome aboard. Please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell if you are watching us on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, just hit the follow. Also, please give us some engagement on our social media. We are at BBT Magic Podcast on both TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. What a great job you did there. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I'm glad everyone loves my co-host, Mufasa.
Josh told me
this is like the complete reverse. I have zero hair.
And
you have all the hair.
That's why you hate on me.
I feel like you got more hair since last
That's
time.
because I never do anything with my hair. It's always in a sloppy bun on top of my head.
Well, go back to that. You're making me feel inferior.
So this is my
over
natural hair. This is what my hair does naturally. I get this from Dad. It's
Well,
this massive Mufasa hair, like you said. And ouch, no need to be hostile to the rest of us because you're follically
just
challenged.
keep an eye out for Scar. That's all I got to say.
Oh, little Simba, look. There's my baby.
We're all part of the great circle
Josh,
of life.
look. There's my baby.
All right.
we're
I'm
off
sure
to
everybody
a-
listening is probably like, oh my
We're
God,
off
when's
to
it
a
gonna stop?
streamlined start as always. TV 14.
Yeah, off the rails already. Record time.
Yeah, don't forget TV 14.
Oh, yes. And I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I did not say that this was rated TV 14. So you younger viewers out there, please have your parents' permission if you're going to listen or watch on YouTube or Spotify. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. And if you're a bad kid, just watch anyway. Just kidding. We keep it clean here on Bring Back the Magic. So let's get into some small talk here, shall we? Small talk's the best talk.
It is. First and foremost, like I said in the cold open.
Yes.
I survived, Josh. I survived 626.
You survived. That's great.
Yeah.
Unscathed. Stitch didn't get to you. Oh my God. You survived completely. I swear. No, you got through
idiot.
it. You got through it. It's a great job. But what's wrong?
Backwards. Oh my God. You guys can't see this on Spotify. Josh is tormenting
what happened?
me.
I don't know. There's something happened. I don't know what it was, but it
He
probably
is
was
literally
glorious.
everywhere.
Gina did survive, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So,
This is why
I was going to torment you more on that day, and I just didn't. I just kept sending you little.
You leave that to Rob.
Yeah, Rob got you.
Rob was on it.
You were not
and it was
robbed.
Literally, Rob and Teresa, more Disney, please. Rob, you hear us talk about them a lot. We've made great friends with them. We are so grateful. They're tremendous supporters of the show, but a great sense of humor from both of them. But Rob was on the ready. By the time I woke up, he had already tagged me, I think, in 3 different things. And had made me like real. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. All good fun.
I figured somebody would get to you. I really did.
I had to explain maybe 100 times that day to people going, why don't you like Stitch? Why don't you like Stitch? And my answer was, listen to the podcast.
She's like, it's not that I don't like
It's not that I don't like him. I just don't like him. So anyway, congrats to all you who celebrate that holiday, because you can't get enough of him the rest of the year, I guess. He's just so hard to find.
There's just not enough. I mean, we need to bring back the magic and bring back more Stitch stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, I survived.
So I'm seeing a lot lately on the test track unveiling. So me and you are kind of, I think, of the same mindset on this.
Yeah.
We always harken back to the old days of Disney where the World of Motion, okay? We remember the big circular building, the World of Motion. You go in there when you first walk in, you see like the cars go up on the second level and everything. It had that kind of old Disney whimsy. But this one's supposed to make a callback to kind of that kind of style ride. And there's people already saying that it does do that. So I'm excited for it. So I think from both the ranks, we don't really want to watch anybody showing the ride itself. I saw the queue line.
Right.
which is basically the same as kind of like the other test track. Maybe a little updated, futuristic.
They
kind
took
of
out
things.
the section where you make the
And
cars,
there's like a window.
which I could care less. Yeah,
I feel like that was a throwaway anyway. Because it really.
But the window, I think part of almost a World of Motion callback. I don't know if it's intentional. It's just
to
what
see
I'm
part of the
hoping
ride or something.
is the fact that you can see the ride go by when you're in
really
that
ruining
queue
this
area.
for me already. I'm like, I don't want to know any more
I do
details. I
wanna
said
say-
I didn't want to know.
I do want to say though, it has been a conflict within myself because Mom keeps saying, "Are there any videos I want to see?" And I'm like, I'm struggling, Mom, because I am so excited for it that I want to see it in one respect, and in the other, I'm like, I don't want to ruin it for myself. I want to like experience it up front. Now, there's been plenty of rides like Ratatouille. I had seen the Paris version of that online POV, and it did not ruin it for me. The experience was not ruined for me. But this, I just feel like because it's going to have these little callbacks and ads, but I'm in a Discord, which I'm learning Discord, guys. Like, I'm so old. I don't
I still
understand how it
suck
works.
at it, by the way.
But Into the Disneyverse, another podcast that we are fans of, had invited me to their Discord channel. Discord, yeah. And they were talking in there because somebody got the preview or got to see the preview and was saying that the World of Motion like callback is obvious. And I know one thing, I won't spoil it for you, one thing that they do, but people keep saying classic Epcot fans will be very happy with this ride.
It's got to be some kind of, I don't know, like maybe it makes you feel like you're an omnimover, but you're not because you're in a real car kind of thing where it's like you got speed and everything.
I don't know. I heard a little.
Or maybe it's just the animatronics. That's what I'd have to
I heard
go
a little.
back.
I know one thing, and you haven't guessed it yet, so I won't tell you. But two is that I hear the voiceover, like for the ride, gives very old Epcot vibes to me. Like I will say the voiceover that at least I heard in the clips I was willing to let myself see because as soon as I start,
I guess that's why Peyton came down. She said, I didn't really like the voiceover because she's not used to that. She wasn't. Yeah. She didn't grow up on old school Disney where the voiceovers
but it
were
definitely, and a lot of people have also said it's not just World of Motion that it calls to, but even Innoventions vibes. And that to me is what Future World, remember when they called it that, was supposed to all be about, the future and technology and innovation. And so when that lost that's where my heart broke.
I missed the sparkly pavement when they did Innoventions because that was after Communicore because Communicore didn't have the sparkly pavement with the fiber optics in it.
Yeah, that was so fun. I remember thinking all the time. And actually, when we built our pool,
how did they do this?
Our old house. Remember, we asked the pool people like, "Can we get this around the pool?" Like, and of course, it was just
they're like, "Hey, you're bougie," and no, we can't.
I mean, to our credit, like our dad always raised us with this Disney mentality. It was always like,
it's weird. I did figure
big.
out a way. I haven't done it yet, but I wanted to do like an outdoor kitchen. But I was going to do a poured concrete countertop and do fiber optics through the top because I know a way how to do it. And I'm like, no, not spoiling my
love
secrets.
fiber optics, guys.
But
I love them.
They'll probably put some in the podcast somewhere. Well, fiber optics.
If anyone wants to send me any for my studio. Also, I need to give a little call right here to my new piece of art from the giveaway that I say we won because it was our
Gina really wins everything.
Really me, but I love it. It's so cute. It says, "I work so we can go to Disney." So I work so we can go to Disney.
You won. Congratulations, Gina. Oh, there it is.
Thank
Confetti.
you. I don't want to say it wrong, but I'm going to give a shout out. That was
Confetti.
from Megan from MPJ Travel because I kept saying that to myself. And then when I went to do the video online, of course, I reversed to
I'm going to do this again because you didn't call attention to it.
Oh.
It's confetti. There you go. Yes, you need to be more.
I don't like looking at myself. And that's something I never thought I'd say because back in the day I lived for a camera. But just like right now, I just don't love it. That's why I love our Spotify bonus episodes. There's no camera involved, but I still try to look cute for the episode. I'm wearing all DVC themed for today's episode. My ears and my shirt.
Well, that's something we have in common. I don't like looking at you either. That's why I'm kind of trying not to. Just teasing. I love you. I love you. I got you those ears, by the way.
You did.
I did.
And the backpack.
Those are the DVC ears. I'm glad you're wearing your DVC ears because that goes and ties into our theme for the podcast today. But we'll get to that later.
Yes.
Anyhow, yeah. So now we've covered Stitch and Test Track and our little thoughts on that. Do you want to get into some hot takes?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get into the hot takes. Oh, it's getting warm in here. Get some marshmallows on here.
Oh my God, if you pulled out a stick with a marshmallow on it, a little hot dog. We just think we're so funny. I don't know
We
if
do.
anyone
And you know
does,
what?
but-
Nobody is more entertained by this podcast than us. And that's okay.
I said that recently when I was like, yeah, like most people are like.
We're on a trajectory right now
Right.
to make tens of dollars in the future off of what we're doing here. Once we spend tens of thousands of dollars, you know, because we rob banks in our free time, we will make tens of dollars later. I'm just telling you, that's how it works. That's the exchange.
It is how it works. But like I said, the dream for us is some people dream to be able to make others laugh and make a living at it. We would like to make a living at making ourselves laugh.
Yeah,
Can we make money for that? Can we get some money for making
You make me laugh all the time.
You make me laugh. You're the funnier one.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's not true. Trust me, Gina's killing it on social media, by the way. Everybody who interacts with Gina on social media, because I'm like, how do you respond that quick to people? I go in, I like something automatically, I get a message back from Bring Back the Magic, and I go, I just hit the thing. She's like, haha, this is this. And I'm like, but it's funny because Bring Back the Magic, the actual social media, it took basically it's you. Like, it's not even like you speak for us. It's
I
just
do.
Gina
I try to use
altering
we.
it.
On my our story, I am me. But
Everybody knows you're just
I
savage
say we.
as Gina as Bring Back the Magic towards me.
See, he has to throw a compliment first because then he's going to diss me right after.
No, I'm not dissing. You do a great job.
What I say to you
couldn't
today,
do it.
I said I want more videos of you, but I'm the one I'm with
Nobody
me all
needs
the time.
more videos of me.
They do.
Trust me.
They do.
Well, check out my only toes. I'm just kidding. We're not there yet. We'll make tens of dollars though. Anyhow, so hot takes. Since we already did the roll in the hot takes, my hot take for this week is I feel, and this it's been said enough and not political about it, but it's like I feel like the re-theme on Splash Mountain was needless. I feel like that whole thing was just needless because there was never a connection in that ride of all this like stuff where it's more PC and everything. He said, oh, about Song of the South. I'm like, Song of the South. I'm like, Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, Brer Bear, all that stuff. These are characters that you kind of grew up in Disney with. And they were just the story going through Splash Mountain had nothing to do with anything else. And if you had a problem with like the Uncle Remus character, anything else like that, it's fine if you did. I'm like, I wasn't one of those people that saw it a certain way, but I remember it from when I was a child. He's not in the ride. It has nothing to do with that.
Well,
but then they theme it
say.
Tiana, and even you said, and I'll get through this, but it's like, even you said, it really doesn't tell the story of Princess and the Frog. It has to be more of a post-Princess and the Frog
for Bayou Adventure.
Because, and because of the fact that, Facilier's not in there, I would have loved to see him in the ride. If that, I feel like you could have done a better job with Princess and the Frog by giving them something else in a different land, possibly even having something. When they're putting stuff like Encanto in Animal Kingdom, you could have put something in and made like a New Orleans type little area kind of thing with some stuff with the gator stuff and brought in like Lewis and all these kind of little characters and more of the wildlife aspect of it in like Animal Kingdom or something, but had a great place for like a jazz restaurant or something with like beignets and all. That'd be great. I'd like more theming around that, not just the ride and it's disjointed. That's just all I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like it was just needless. That's my hot take for this week.
Well, I agree with you because what I think is wild about it is really what you touched on is, okay, if Uncle Remus was the part of Song of the South that was the issue and he's not in the ride, why is it okay to have Tiana but just leave out Dr. Facilier because some people might be off-put by voodoo? Do you know what I mean? It's like you're doing the exact same thing. It's like somebody could say, oh, I don't like Princess and the Frog because it's got voodoo in it. And they go, oh, no, it's fine. He's not in the ride. But that's exactly what you could say about Song of the South. So maybe we're wrong. Maybe there's something we're missing.
And we could be completely off base wide everything is.
I really don't think that was a crowd push. I think that was somebody trying to have some kind of savior complex going, oh, you know what? This is a problem. We need to do this. I don't think the crowd was calling for it. But again, I could be wrong. Yeah. My take is... my hot take, and this, again, sometimes I think my hot takes don't sound like hot takes in the beginning. Sometimes they're more aimed at Disney. Like Disney, you might think this is a hot take, but this, I think there are people that will see both sides of this. Fancier, pricier does not always mean better. And why I'm bringing this up is because... it's kind of
like what I said last time.
But what I mean by this, I know you were saying with hotels, I'm talking about menus and specifically drink menus. So when you go to Geo 82, which we were lucky enough to go to, and they give you these drinks that they are giving you a huge story about everything that goes behind it. And they're like, and it's this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, okay, they were not like the type of drinks that I think appeal to a lot of people, like flavor wise. But it was also the idea of like, oh, this is fancy. This is very specific. So it's going to be better. And it's like, is it? So like for me, I think sometimes they're aiming to be like elevated level and go, this is going to be so awesome. But yet it's like, is it?
It's a Pied Piper mentality because it's also like what they're setting you up for is to say they're putting you in a lull where they're like, here you go. we're telling you how great this is, so it's going to fool you into saying, oh, this is great, even though it tastes like dirt. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like somebody's like, oh, I have to like this. It's like people.
Splash Mountain's a problem.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's like people just automatically assume it's like you're not a bourbon person. But like you go through, actually, their bourbon flight there, awesome.
Fantastic.
GO82, I'd
Best
have it
deal in
again
Disney.
and again and again. I'd do
Best
it every
deal in
time I went
Disney.
back there. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But, and for the price especially, and had great selection of the 4 they chose. That's great. But other people come in, you don't drink bourbon. You'd be like, this is great. But you have to pretend like, oh, this is really good bourbon. But you don't like bourbon. And that's fine to say what you do or don't like.
And I wouldn't order a bourbon drink because I know I don't like bourbon. Although there have been times where somebody
What
can
was
make
that
me a
garbage
drink.
you and Stephanie ordered?
We talked about this. The strawberry black pepper sour.
Yeah, that sounds like crap
We
anyway.
talked about it last week. I wasn't. But this is the thing. I'll give it another shot if
The
someone
name
else orders
sounds
it.
like crap.
My thing is just this. To be clear, I get, and maybe this is somebody's first episode watching of ours and doesn't know this
Yeah,
about me.
there you go.
I was a bartender for years, nearly a decade. I love trying new things. I love Victorian Alberts because it challenges my palate all the time. I'm not somebody that's walking in expecting to see, oh, what do you mean they don't rum and coke?
Same old,
like, but I'm saying I think that it is, like you just said, that Pied Piper where they're trying to like make people think this is so elite and this is so this, but it's like, is it any better? Because I didn't necessarily feel like it was. I think that they're just looking at the menu. If you were somebody that's like, okay, I'm a vodka lover, where's something that's going to appeal to me? And maybe you do just get a dirty martini or something there, although I don't even know if that was an option.
Do you ever fall into, like, everybody falls into this doom scrolling thing, but you ever fall into a hole because you like 1 or 2 videos like on TikTok or something when you're talking about alcohol and bartending and all these things? I fell into one the other day. It was like somebody made like a craft cocktail themselves and said, oh, they were out golfing. They poured out like Welch's grape juice and they had like Tito's and they had like.
Oh, you sent me that. That was Kool-Aid. They put in the
Kool-Aid
bottle
in there
of
and
Tito's.
everything.
Yeah.
It was, but I've seen some other ones done, but some other things. But it looked really good. I was like, oh, I like this. And then all of a sudden, it was all these other people piling on doing these things. I'm like, oh, no.
Jungle juice.
Now I'm like, I haven't drank in a while. I feel like the TikTok was trying to make me, give me an alcohol problem or something.
Be careful. Somebody sends you something and you look at it and you look at one more video after that, it all of a
It
sudden
just
becomes your
reminds
whole
me like
algorithm.
when people used to make jungle juice when you were like younger and everybody's like, here, let's throw, what can we throw in this cooler?
But I'm not anti things being elevated. I think it's makes more sense in the hotels than in the theme parks per se. But you look at like a menu for maybe a drink menu for a Coral Reef, okay? And it feels like, hey, these are some drinks that are, you know, fancier cocktails maybe, but they seem like globally appealing to a degree. And I get that GO82 is its own specific brand. And it's like, hey, we are 21 and over, so maybe that's what they're just trying to do in the theme park. But my thing is, if you're going to put all that effort in, like make it something that is going to leave a lasting positive impression on me. Like I know they have that one martini that's like leek and onion. And I was like, is anyone really calling
and make
for
sure
this?
it's a crowd pleaser, like, you know, some strawberry wine from Boone's Farm, you know? This
Anyway,
is
I
GO82.
said, it's a hot take. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are like, yes, you know what I needed in Epcot?
You know what GO82 needs? Mad Dog 2020.
Right, exactly. Or just elderflowers that can make me my Hugo spritz.
I don't get that. I'm like elderflower. But no, I mean, those kind of things. But I will say that our last episode, if you call back, I might have a memory on this one. I said, I was like, people just like stuff because they think they're supposed to like it.
I think that
and it wasn't
happens
about
a lot.
hotels. It was about more like restaurants.
Yeah.
They're like, that's what my thing about the cake bake shop. I was like, look,
Right.
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not horrible.
Yeah.
I just feel like,
and
for
I
what
can't
it
speak on
was-
it because I haven't been yet, but I will
Yeah,
go.
but I will say this. I'm not hypocritical in what I do, but I'm like, I'm going to go back and give it another shot. And I always keep harkening back to cake bake, but I'm like, I'm going to go give it another shot because anybody can have an off day, but I'm going to go do that. I'd like to do the tea service there and all, even though like it's a guy going to tea. Yeah,
Guys
it's
go
actually,
to tea all the time.
Look, people have coffee. It
Go
is
to
what it is.
England. That's all they ever do. Everybody who's English is drinking tea. You know what I mean?
I like to be a little sophisticated with my pinky up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the point, I think, is that when somewhere's very hyped up, it's like, I will give even that drink. I said, I'm not going to pay for it. But if somebody else ordered that drink, I'd be happy
So
to
you're
try
just
it.
not going to pay for your meal.
No, but I'm saying I'd be happy to try it and say, oh, the first one I got just was made poorly. I mean, as a bartender specifically,
Well,
I know
you
that.
can get a bad bartender anywhere. Like,
Absolutely.
that's why they're like, have you ever met a group of bartenders that all make the same margarita? No, you haven't. I guarantee you, because like every bar I've gone to, I'm like, oh,
even in our own family, we don't make drinks
Everybody
the same.
has that person in a bar they know. They're like,
Yeah.
don't go to that one. Don't order from it. Which one did you order from? Oh, that one? You messed up.
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
we had that
Remember
line.
we were on the cruise and Stephanie was like, oh, God, that one guy, Keith, I think it was. She was like, his espresso martinis are not good.
Shots fired. Keith, thanks for watching.
Yeah. I get it. We all like our own things. I was just saying, like, I don't necessarily think that just because you're buying something and then the price is high and they give you some elaborate detailing of it's going to be so good, don't feel like you have to like it and buy into it just because someone gave you that explanation.
That's what I was going to say. I know we're kind of running on a tangent here, but it's like...
What else is new?
I remember a party I hosted in San Diego during Comic-Con, okay? And I had you come up with the beverage menu.
Everyone hated it. Just kidding.
No, everybody loved it. Everybody, like, your attention to detail. That's one thing. Gina's a great creative person. Like, from naming a cocktail, so putting cocktails together, something that fits theme, it's on brand. That's who you go to. But there was a gin gimlet on there. And I'm not a gin person. I don't particularly care for gin. I'm like, especially nobody drinks it by itself because that's disgusting. And I don't want to feel like I'm drinking a Christmas tree. It's just awful. But I had this gin gimlet. I remember my friend David, who works for Marvel, we both had it. We're like, well, this is actually really good. So I had that. I was like, hey, you made a believer out of me. The point is, don't automatically have in your head, I'm not going to like this.
Right.
Give yourself the chance to try something before you say, immediately, I hate it. I've done that with different foods.
I was going to say, I've done that with gin a bunch of times too,
Did I say fishes? Fish.
But I've done that with gin.
And deers.
I've done that with gin a bunch of times too, because I'm also I don't like a juniper flavor. However, there are some drinks in Epcot that have had gin, or I've had hibiscus gin, which it's my weakness. Hendrick's gin, like a cucumber gin, or even the Ford gin that Mimi suggested I put in that mocktail at GO82. Yeah. I enjoyed it. So
Mimi, she was a pip.
Yeah, she was fun. But bourbon, I've had, Chris Kirby has made me his, mint julep or like a bourbon sour sometimes. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. So I'm always willing to like, try something out. I'm not limited. I don't have a very limited palate, I would say. But I also wouldn't fault something because it tasted like an alcohol I know I don't like. So I'm not going to get the bourbon flight and be like, this sucked. It's like, it's bourbon. You don't like it. But I might like bourbon prepared a different way.
Once again, we're not a alcoholic family, but we talk about apparently drinks a lot.
Who doesn't talk about drinking a lot when they talk about Epcot? I mean, I think that's a standard.
I feel like I should put like a help number.
I feel like I need a fan in here. I'm having a hot flash.
Well, that's what happens when you have all that hair.
Lights. Yeah. And all my hair, these ears, it's too much.
Welcome back to Gina Perspire's episode of the Bring Back Magic podcast. Anyway, let's get into our main topic here, which is the DVC, is it for me? Okay, that is a question I think most people ask themselves because if they're diehard Disney fans.
Right.
Because obviously the number one thing is going to come to everybody's mind is the expense. Okay, and
as it should. That is the primary thing.
It is. There's things to consider for this. Is not only the expense. What do you need as a family? Who's going to be using the DVC membership? How is it going to be enacted? Like, if you have multiple people in your family, are you splitting points amongst people? Are you taking one trip a year? Are you taking multiple trips a year? Do you have a favorite resort? Where do you want to be? Like, as far as what they call in DVC, let's go kind of like start at the beginning.
Disney Vacation Club.
Disney Vacation Club.
Using those Disney acronyms.
A membership you can purchase directly from Disney. If you're smart, you go directly through Disney because they just keep limiting your perks and everything else. If you buy resale, which you can, it's actually, to be honest with you, might be smarter because you end up saving some money. But your perks might be taken out. It depends on what's important and what's not important to you. But you get a allotment of what's called Vacation Club points. And these points are exchanged for stays in the park.
Right.
Okay?
And isn't this how a standard timeshare works? I don't know. I've never done a standard timeshare.
Timeshares are timeshares. So like some people are allotted by certain things, maybe by weeks, by point structures, whatever else. It's everything kind of different.
Because it is a Florida real estate contract.
Yes, you have to
this
sign
is not a contract with like just
it's
specifically
deeded,
with Disney. Yes, it is. And we know this because when our father bought our points back in 98 and then later we all wanted to be able to have our names on the membership, we had to go through and pay for a whole, including still doing the Disney right of first refusal. Even though we weren't selling it, we were just working who was on the contract and Dad wasn't leaving the contract. Yeah.
So that kind of thing is like, you exchange points for nights in the park. Everything's different. There's different tier points. There's different types of rooms. Everything costs a certain amount. And like people have to figure out how many points they want to buy in for. Because right now, I'll tell you, most resorts are probably hovering around that $200 per point level. Okay. Back when we bought into Disney Vacation Club, it was anywhere from sub 100 to 100 back in like 1998.
$100
so it was $100 a point when we got our, our father had bought his.
Which we will not divulge how many points we have.
No, we don't need to do that kind of stuff. It's not about those kind of things. But far more advantageous back then. Even though, like, figure inflation, everything else, cost of living and stuff. I mean, $100 point was still expensive, you know?
Very,
especially with the amount
because
of
you're
points you
paying
got.
for the points up front.
Yeah.
It's a 50-year contract, essentially. It was supposed to be, although I feel like ours went, because the resort maybe like time-wise is, because I knew ours was supposed to go through 2042. We bought in 98. So that's not 50 years. But
No, it's
you
when
bought,
they first leased
right,
the
that's
resort.
what I'm saying. So the resort
it's 50
timing.
years from when they first
But
leased
when
the
we
resort.
bought, you buy the points. Now, obviously, you can do it on a payment plan and everything, but I'm saying your main cost is the points. But then, as Josh will elaborate on, like then going from there, there's other fees you're going to have to factor in.
So I will tell you this about the Vacation Club. When you're going to buy points, again, if you're going directly from Disney, there's deals to be had all the time. Make sure you research. You don't have to buy right now. You can buy later. You can do things. You can talk to them. I encourage people to go to the open houses. We're not sponsored by
We
Disney
do not
Vacation
work for
Club.
DVC. We get no kickback
I
of
believe
anything.
in DVC. It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
I will tell you that right now. It's not for everybody. But diehard Disney people that go a lot, you'll experience some cost savings, not a ton. But a lot of people do rent DVC points from people to go on vacation.
There are people
so they
that
can do it.
live in the Orlando area and still have
Yes.
DVC because, one, you can use it other places, but two, they want to be able to enjoy staying at a Disney resort and not just be locals who are just going day to day, you know?
Right. And what I was going to say is the fact that when you go to buy in on it, if you're going like on a Disney cruise or something, there's always deals to be had on a Disney cruise.
Yeah, we think it's the best place to buy them.
The people that do that always go and talk to. I remember the one guy, Doug, that I dealt with.
Yeah.
He's great. Who was on Disney Cruise. He was like my rep for a little while.
I wish I could remember the name of the lady when we bought the other
Celeste.
one. Celeste.
Celeste was her name. And see, hey, I remembered something. Yes, yes. Where is there a sound effect for that? All right. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I get excited. Whatever.
Good, because it's getting serious. I'm not used to how serious we are. Talk DVC, we get serious, guys. This is serious business.
Ding. Anyway, so when you go through and you're getting points from DVC, cruise is a great place to go on, but talk to the people on there and say, you know, I'm interested in it. There's always something they try to give you. See what the perks are then. See what the giveaways are. Sometimes it's, I think when Grand Floridian, I want to say when they leave, I think there was luggage or something like that was actually given. Because I saw some things. There was like a luggage set for like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Try to get in when they're offering something
Get the goodies,
good.
guys.
Don't
Get the
be like,
goodies.
here's your magnet and whatever it is. I think, actually, I have a member's water bottle that I got from my last contract.
That's cute.
Because I went and bought later. We have, as a family, we have 3 different types of contracts. We have Grand Floridian, Copper Creek, and then I have Grand Floridian. So I got that in my latest package. I got like a couple years back or something like that, maybe at most. But go on and see what's what. The thing is with this, yes, Gina said you could pay for it outright or you could finance it. The APR is a little high, but I will tell you this. As long as you have the down payment and you say how much you're going to put a down payment and the payment works for you, Disney's not running a credit check on you. That's the thing is because if you think about it, it's smart because Disney doesn't have to go through all that. They're basically selling you nothing. They're selling you air. And if you don't pay for that air, they just take it back. No air for you.
You will
fool.
suffocate. You know what though, Josh? Not to chime in before you're finished, but I was gonna say, I think you really have to look at DVC completely differently than you look at budgeting for just a Disney vacation. I think you have to compare it more to if you were going to buy a vacation home. Everything that you're saying, are you going to buy it outright? Are you going to finance it? What are the costs you're going to incur year to year, even if you paid cash for your vacation home? I think you have to think of it that way. The beauty of a timeshare rather than buying a home, though, is that you can change where you stay each time, all those maintenance things that you don't have to deal with and worry about when you're not there. You don't have to worry about, is somebody flushing all my toilets? Is somebody breaking in or anything? It does keep it very fresh. So I understand why Disney got into this game. And we've said before, and we said last week, that their very first one that they did was Old Key West. And I think, did they even call it that? Or was it just Disney Vacation Club when they first opened it? I almost feel like it didn't have its own name. It was just Disney Vacation Club Resort. It was the only one.
I would comment, but I'd probably be wrong. So
I don't know. I have a tinge. I could be wrong about that. That's fine. We don't prep and we don't have any facts. But
well, It was a good idea.
It's way bigger because it feels like a timeshare. So their idea was, hey, and if you're going to look into having a vacation home, let's get you to commit to coming to Disney every year. You're going to make this your timeshare, and then we'll make it, available to stay other places.
Well,
but the point value on other places isn't good.
Yeah, I feel like when they release a new thing, they're always saying, oh, this is new, this is this, blah, blah. This one's more high points because it's newer. I'm like, I don't buy into that all the time. But it does make it like when you're taking a trip with this, because you can choose other resorts to stay and like your points allotments. I'm a fan of traveling more in the off season because the points are lower and also the crowd's a little lower. So those points are like when kids first go back to school. It's like
September is now considered the only low season, I think, is the month of September.
And my birthday's in September. So happy birthday to Josh.
Yes.
So if you and
Brianna,
by the way, if you're sending
Quinn.
gifts, send them to Josh care of bit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'll find an address.
But I do think some real quick bullet points before we forget to know about DVC is, like Josh said, you buy the point allotment. You get those points every single year, assuming you're keeping up with your dues. You get those every year. So let's say you bought 100 points. When your renewal year may not be a calendar year. So let's say your renewal date is February 1st. You will get your 100 points February 1st, and then you will get 100 more the following February. You are allowed to bank a year and you are allowed to borrow a year. So the most you can ever use for one vacation would be 3 years worth of points. If you keep banking points, you will lose them. It does not work that way. You can't say, oh, I've got 100. I'm going to save them up and have 1,000. It doesn't work that way.
You can only have 3 years worth of points together at one time ever.
Points, if your home resort is where you buy the points. So if you ever hear us say, oh, that's our home resort,
and
Boardwalk,
you have 11 months out to book.
You get to book
trip.
11 months out for
Everywhere
that resort, just for that resort.
And everywhere else is how many months?
7 months out.
Good job. Yes, that's the correct answer,
So,
Gina. I believe that's yes,
then
good.
when you look and you go to book and you book on the DVC website, when you go and look, it will tell you what points it costs per night. Fridays and Saturdays are always going to be more points. So when you're looking, a lot of times back in the day, if we do a 5-day trip, we would stay Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, Thursday. And so those are things to keep in mind.
Yeah, days of the week are hard.
Yeah, it is. But those are little just basic things to know about DVC is you're buying the points. Now, another thing that we just talked about in the last episode, the friends you made at the bar at Steakhouse 71 did not realize, because we're pretty sure that they had DVC rental points for their trip and didn't realize that their travel agent didn't tell them, is you do not get daily maid service because, again,
What?
I saw that little blue goblin run across the screen.
You saw nothing.
I did too. Stop. This is why he's not going to remember anything I just said, and he's going to repeat it because he's too busy over there having fun with his Stitch. Anyway, but you don't get daily maid service. You don't, because it's like a timeshare. So you're not getting like hotel style maintenance. You're getting timeshare style. They'll come in and get your trash, and then after so many days, they'll do a full clean of the room. I think it's like after 6 days, something like that, you get a full clean of the room. Yeah. So those are things.
I was actually going to play you off like the Oscars. I guess. Sorry, everyone. I took a little while on that one. Just kidding. What? No, nothing. Okay, whatever. We got sound effects. I'm going to use them. Anyhow, but as I was saying with the financing and things like that, it just makes sense that they could revoke it at any point. But some people that aren't able to save money, I'm one of those people. Don't have a large savings or any savings. I was like, I go to Disney too much, or I do things, or I have family that I have to buy things for, or whatever else. And, life is life. I have a podcast to produce, whatever. But the fact is, it's like, if you can budget your monthly expenditures and you say, I can afford to pay X amount per month. Right. And then the dues are this. That's what I do. Mine are my points from Grand Floridian are financed. It's about a 10-year term. They give you for the financing of them. You put
and
down
the dues
X
are
amount.
hefty. They're annual dues, depending on how many points you have.
Honestly, it's weird that Grand Floridian is actually one of the least expensive dues.
Oh, that's wild.
It's weird because I have for my Grand Floridian points. It's not cheap. It still costs me over $2,500 a year in dues.
Yeah.
And I have a good amount of points. Like I bought on this contract, I had 400 points at Grand Floridian. Now I got that, and like it was a different world. I had another job. I could afford these things. Now I'm like, I'm stuck. I can't sell these things.
So the point of the show is: does anyone want to buy Josh's points?
If you need to buy vacation club points, cold hard cash.
Cha-ching! Da-da-da-da-da.
You could hear my eye.
That.
eye
Oh,
roll.
sorry. Put my leg.
No,
out.
but yeah.
It's
So
not
if you're
on the screen.
interested and you're in the market for Grand Floridian points, no.
Cash.
But anyway,
We'll sell
so
it to
I
you
have
for
those points, and it
200%.
just comes out automatically.
Yeah.
So every month that I struggle to make sure I make that payment, so I can still take my wife's post 50th birthday celebration in November. I go, but I'm appreciative of them. I love having, and I love Grand Floridian. Now with Disney Vacation Club, it is just that. It's a club. So if you are a diehard
That's a
Disney
good point.
person like we are, okay, Gina's got the ears on.
If you like to feel better than everybody,
Yes, you feel like you're better than everyone
annual
else.
pass isn't good.
If you like to put your nose in the air and walk by and say, ha, that guy's not in the DVC. I bet he bought
suckers-
his ticket today.
You suckers at your
No,
daily maid service.
You suckers at your convenience where you get your beds made and all this stuff. And while we suffer in filth, but we have this DVC.
Oh,
We
God,
have our
dang,
3-letter acronym.
Tears.
Yeah. So anyway.
Makeup. Okay.
No, but if you like
God.
being a member of something, some people like being members of Costco. It's
Right.
like, yep, I'm in the club. They walk by proud with their card. It doesn't matter. I do miss the fact when DVC would give you membership cards. Now it's just a digital thing.
Yeah.
Because you'd have that hard plastic card. You're like, okay, here you go. It was
Yeah.
much easier than everything. By the way, little sidebar here. Can they make it easier to know what your affiliations are in the stupid app? Because when you go in there, like, yeah, I'm an annual pass holder. Please open the app and hope the Wi-Fi's working. Hope everything else is going through.
Yeah.
I did. When you get a good employee, I know you've said this before, Gina. When you get a good employee, when you open up the app, and if you're or a good cast member that just doesn't care about the regular rules that they have to go by,
Good
one
by
of those
whose
guys.
definition then?
Don't spook them. Okay. So when you get one of the goodies, okay, and they go in there. The one guy told me the one time, he's like, I opened up and you see a little pennant that hangs down that says you're an annual pass
you
member.
talked about this.
They're like, here, you can do that. Otherwise, even with DVC and all that, you've got to go back in the back end of this. Even in your digital wallet stuff, you're like, oh, here you go. No, we need to see it in the app. Then make it easier to get to in the app. Make it a one button click here for your discount little deal. Have it downloadable.
Yeah,
because
because it's like you got to go through several menus. It's like you got to
All the
go to
stuff they try
profile,
to
then
do.
memberships, then this. Like, why isn't it just a?
You can rebrand Genie Plus and all these things, lightning lanes 1,000,000 times and all this other stuff, but you
Yeah.
can't make an easy button that goes to,
Yeah.
I'm an annual pass member. Hey, I'm a DVC member. Here's my Castaway Club thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers how to get to this crap. Anywho, I don't even know what I was saying.
We were talking about if you like to be members of a club.
Yeah, so if you're in the club, you're in the club. Okay, when people go by, it's nice when you go through, and that's another way that Disney can get you to buy other merch.
Right.
Okay, when you go into every resort that's a DVC resort, you're going to see a section in there that they have branded for Disney Vacation Club. So you go and you got jacket, shirt. And by the way, it's usually the most god-awful merchandise ever. Like, there's a few cute things. There's a few things.
wearing
Gina's
cute
actually wearing her
DVC
Vacation
shirt,
Club
my
stuff.
vacation,
That's
the
not bad.
ears and
That's
the
from Boardwalk.
backpack. Yeah.
That's from Boardwalk. And the thing is,
Magic band.
yeah, you can go do those things. But sometimes you're like, who came up with this? Like, are you even
Actually,
trying?
I just bought a new DVC one the other day when we were last trip.
You got me a DVC magnet from Copper Creek.
I did in Copper Creek's where I got my pink one with the puffy
And
paint.
they're
like
getting
letters and
better.
glitter.
Don't get me wrong,
Way
they're getting
overpriced
better.
though. Way overpriced.
Yeah.
That shirt was stupid. It was like a long
Wouldn't it be
sleeve
funny though if
t-shirt.
you had the DVC stuff and it wasn't discounted? Like it's
Yeah.
like you
Nope.
can't use your no DVC discount.
That's what
Sorry.
you get for being in the club.
Sorry, we don't
But
spend
on that
itchy
note,
and
speaking
scratchy
of
money here.
speaking of club, though, you do gain access to the DVC lounges that are in different places, like the one above Journey into Imagination, the one that is at Magic Kingdom now, where the old shooting gallery used to be. I will say on the cruise, it's especially nice because they do some events that are just for DVC members. And they always ask you to bring a friend because they're trying to, like with any timeshare, they want to promote, but it's still fun. I think those events don't come off like those salesy symposiums that a lot of those timeshare places do. There's cocktails, so it's a fun place to go and get like a free drink.
By the way, it's
Unless that blue one-
McKim's. It's McKim's is the name of the lounge and thing.
not
Remember I was calling them
Ted McKinley's.
McKinley's. McKinley's.
Ted McKinley's.
McKim's.
But that doesn't even sound like that's a good name. But anyway, no offense to anyone named McKim. But on the cruise, you can go every day to the DVC
They have a special
kiosk and they have some little goodie they're going to give you. We've gotten luggage tags. Actually, on my phone right now, I have a DVC pop socket that I got on one of the cruises we were on.
Spoiler alert. Every cruise you go on will be the same gifts.
I mean, yeah, probably, but there's like a backpack.
There's a drawstring bag. There's a pop socket.
Chapstick that they'll give you. They're all like cute little gimmies and stuff, but it's nice. They don't have to do that. And if you make friends with those people, they're usually some of the awesomest people because they're used to people just walking by and ignoring them. So give them a little time, like just be nice. You know, and I'm not saying you're going to get anything extra
that with
for
anybody,
it, but they're
honestly,
really.
But yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but I'm saying we're all talking about DVC right now.
We've had a ball with a lot of those people because you can kind of get them out of their shell too. Like, and there's a lot of people that are. We've had some experiences, put that way. Like on the fantasy, I've had some experience because the DVC desk is down like on the main,
right across from the front desk.
Yeah, right across from the front desk. And then you got on the Wish, it's like kind of on the level that it's like kind of tucked in a corner by one of the little bars.
Yeah, it was easy. It's probably nice for them because it felt like they had kind of like a nicer looking office, but it's very easy to miss.
It's a little tucked out of the way. I'm not a big fan of the way the Wish is
There's
set
a whole
up,
episode about the Disney Cruise Line that we need to have anyway, and weighing in on what our favorite ship is and everything like that. So make a note. Disney Cruise Line. DC.
Well, going back to DVC and the benefits, is it for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just check the boxes. Say, what do you spend on your average Disney vacation in lodging? Are you somebody that goes to Disney that stays at a value resort? Are you somebody that stays off property because it's too expensive, or you enjoy staying off property because you get like an Airbnb, you rent out a house, you do something that you enjoy having your car somewhere and you just driving to the parks? It's worth it if you're somebody that stays within the park, that likes to stay at certain types of hotels that are more in the deluxe category. Because most of all the DVC resorts are deluxe resorts. There's no real in between that. They're all deluxe.
Yeah, they're all considered. Even Saratoga is considered deluxe.
Everything in there is all deluxe resorts.
Nothing against Saratoga.
So if you're that kind of person, that's fine. If you're somebody that enjoys the value resorts, what I've always said and kept saying is there's nothing wrong with them. Those are more themed and everything else, then DVC might not be the answer for you because that money's not going to translate the same way. Mm-hmm. So if you said you bought 100 points, which 100 points you could go a week trip in like one off season kind of thing, get a whole week into something, maybe like a Monday through Friday, blah, 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 whatever else, maybe into a weekend, depending on the resort you stay at. Some points are maybe 10 points a night, something like that. Most of the time, you're going to be averaging somewhere in the 30 plus range in a lot of these things, depending if it's a studio, one bedroom, and we'll get into the categories later. But if you buy just 100 points, and if it's right now it's at 200, it's $20,000. Okay, right there. You have to really extrapolate that money and say, is this saving us money? Plus, you add in year after year what the dues are on your points. So if you say, I'm paying this, and I'm going to have this for 50 years, and the dues are, let's say, just make it an even $3,000, you're going to be $150,000 in 50 years of owning this contract if you get it from the start.
You know who's great at that? And obviously, we did not buy our points back when Dad bought it. You know, I was just like out of high school, basically. But is Brad. When Brad and them bought theirs and they did resale, he did an entire spreadsheet that he showed me based on what do we average spend on a vacation? What is this average going to cost?
Alert.
How much? But I thought, that's so smart because you really do need to see it. Because here's the thing, $20,000 in your first year, spending 100 points on a room, you're going to go, well, that's not a savings. You're not looking at it year to year. You have to look at it. Yes, you need to factor in what your dues on 100 points. I can't imagine the dues are insane for a year. Like, what would you think? Because if yours was 400 and it's 2,500, let's say the dues on 100 would be
I think
what?
Mine, like, and I'll be honest
Let's
about
say
my
1,000?
contract. My contract when I bought into it for 400 points was probably, because I said towards 200, it's probably close to like $80,000. What the cost of the whole thing was. Now I go multiple times a year. Okay, I go multiple times a year. I like staying at somewhere. If I was to buy each time I went in a week lodging, it would cost me thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Now I know I have this, and I know each year, basically, once this is paid off, I'm only paying $2,500, $3,000 a year for that. So once it's paid, and it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's expensive. Like I said, had I known my career trajectory was going to change.
Subscribe, like and subscribe. People, put the graphic up, Josh.
I left my previous position because they made me.
Where's that music? Where's that music like they put on those commercials where it's like, you too could sponsor a boy and his grandpa.
I don't have anything ominous.
You could sponsor this boy and his grandpa boys. We don't have a Patreon or anything, guys. Don't worry. No, you know what, Josh, though?
I feel like my background music is more like, hey, who wants to help Josh out here? Come on down to your kinfolk. Here, all right.
We kid. Okay,
no,
but...
okay, back to this.
But just to give perspective, guys. If you
Back
are
to magic.
staying at a 1-bedroom villa, let's say in September when the season is low, at the Grand Floridian, which is one of my favorites, we all know there's no surprises, and you are staying in a 1-bedroom there, for about a week, you could get that around, I want to say, 300 points or less, okay? If you are paying cash for that room, it is over $1,000 a night. And I think much over $1,000, creeping on $1,500.
Which room is this?
The 1-bedroom
the
at the
one-bedroom,
Grand
yeah.
Floridian, the 1-bedroom villa. So
Remember, we
just
did the thing with the
giving you an idea.
3-bedroom. The 3-bedroom, something they said averaged $3,500 to $4,700 per night if you
Yeah.
were going to pay cash for it.
Yeah, which we can't.
Ridiculous.
And that's my thing about the points. Why I love DVC.
You could stay in a room you otherwise
I will
couldn't.
never be able to. I
DVC
mean,
points-
until you start liking and subscribing, I cannot be. Share my content.
We
and
need
we're
to go virus. We need to go virus here. We're going virus. Anyway, so DVC points are much like the credit card reward points from American Express. If you cash them in for cash value,
Yeah,
you're really not getting anything.
no,
but
yeah,
if you
yeah,
use
yeah.
them the way they're supposed to be from partners and all this stuff, they go 10 times further. And that's basically what DVC is.
Exactly. And I will say, like, that's got to be rough for somebody who's paid into points and then doesn't get to finish out the contract. I don't know that I could say you got your money's worth at that point.
Yeah.
But I will say that because for a lot of our family members, they were first kind of trying to like stretch their points as far as they could go. And I was like, not me. I got over that idea. I was like, I want to stay in the best place I can for my point allotment because I won't ever be able to stay there. So if we don't have DVC at some point and like we can't afford the dues or something and we're like, hey, DVC went away. Nice knowing you. Then I need to be able to say, okay, well, now I got to stay the places I can pay cash for, or DVC rental is a good option.
You better hope that Motel 6 has a point structure, Gina. But they'll leave the light on for you, so that's good.
I will remember you. To be singing to the Grand Floridian. Book my room. Guys, I'm coming. We don't make any sense.
Oh my God. But
But-
yeah, if you go through
Yes.
and you organize your trips and you know exactly what places you like to stay, go in and do some research. Okay, I encourage everybody that's
Do it, because
thinking
we
about
don't. So we need that.
And we don't,
That's
and
your
our-
homework.
listen, our
Do
job
research.
here is to entertain you in some fashion, give you a little bit of knowledge, side of funny, whatever else it is.
We like you
If
to feel involved. So instead of doing research
remember,
for
it
the show,
only counts if we make ourselves laugh.
we give you homework and say, be part of the show. You do the research.
But
Comment
it's true.
below.
It's really
Comment the
true. It's
answers.
like go on for yourself and say,
God.
what do you spend on these vacations? Research the time of year you want to go, the places you'd like to stay,
Yeah.
what it would cost to stay in those
Yeah.
rooms versus if you had X amount of points, you had to buy them through a DVC structure. That information is readily available.
Do you know what I
Okay?
think is also kind of a very, very light, loosely similar comparison would be the dining plan. You know, now that's a one-time thing, obviously, but the reason a lot of people love the dining plan is they say
So they can have 47 snacks left over
no,
on the last day
because
of their
they say
vacation.
it's already paid for before I go. So if you like knowing that every year you've already budgeted what your stay is going to cost in Disney, and like we said on a previous episode, I think it was in the Unpacking Animal Kingdom maybe episode or Places to Stay, I'm not sure which, but we said there are resorts you can get nice places for like 10 points a night or something like that. So when someone says, I remember hearing, because we do have
It's usually, I would say like 15 or something, 15 points a night.
there was a
somewhere.
time where it
Yeah.
was like 8 points a night on
I'll give you an
off-season.
example. August, when I'm going back, I'm going to go on a cruise there's a preview sailing of Star of the Seas. So I'm going on that in August. I'm a big cruise fanatic. But I get to go on this thing. So I'm going a couple days before, and I booked my DVC room, or I think I did, or I may have, I think, or maybe I was looking at it. I don't know, but I think it was like 30 points.
This is why we are not travel.
knows?
This is why we're not travel agents. People always say, you know
Did you
what,
book
you
the
guys,
trip? Maybe.
you love Disney. You should be travel.
I think I
agents.
got a confirmation.
Don't trust us.
Listen. So I think it was Saratoga. It was a studio. It was a studio at Saratoga. I want to say it was probably late 20s to maybe a 30 points for 2 nights. Okay, 2 nights there. I think it was about 30 points.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm staying then. So it's when
Pull
you
up
go-
the Animal Kingdom points calculator right now, since you got a computer.
I can't pull them up on this while I'm doing the stream. Right.
My phone's on
I'm like,
airplane
Gina's like Joe Rogan. Hey, Jamie. I'm like, how did I become your toady? Pull it up. I'm in makeup. Somebody get Mufasa a fan and a iced
my
tea or
God.
something.
But on that note, is this
Did you
loud?
bring
On,
a fan?
is this loud on Spotify? I just want to know. I think it is. I just need to know for the future for when I need it.
Oh, no.
Okay. Sorry. Also, I think I slurped my drink earlier. By
This
accident.
is my new co-host, Perry. Perry Menopausal.
I actually found my first prominent gray hair in my head today.
Thank God it was there.
Shut up. It was so
Anyway.
jarring. It was right in the middle. And I say noticeable because, or prominent, because there may have been some all along that I just can't see there in the back of my head, but this one I saw. So that was very
Let the games begin.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Yeah.
back to DVC.
Sorry, Tom Cruise.
It's important. Do your research, figure out what your expenses are, and if it lines up with it, or if it just matters to you to be part of that club. It's like, okay, Club 33. There's a lot of perks to that. A ton of perks to that. They get a lot. Actually, I will stand by this now. That it's funny because Club 33 was actually put in Disney World more as a reward thing. Yes, people pay for it, than a moneymaker for them. What happens is because it's like a secret society almost, it's not so secret. The amount of things and the perks that they give you equal to more than the cost of the membership. The VIP tours these guys get.
Oh, yeah, that is
everything else,
true.
They get like 4
but you
or
still
5
have to pay
of
for
them
your
a year.
meal at the club, right?
But 4 or 5 of them a year, you get like 100 park hopper passes a year, like 4 annual passports. There's all kinds of stuff. I did the interview process, trust me, and that's the only one that's like, if you have a chance to do it and you can afford it, you have that green, you can throw it out there, do that, because there's nothing that's going to be like it. Plus, you get preferential treatment for everything. If you want a reservation at a restaurant, they make it happen. They're not going to be like, you can't have it. Like, subscribe. Chicken parm. Yeah, chicken parm. I hate you.
Guys, that's a callback to Spotify. So that means
Yeah.
you got to,
Yeah.
if you're a YouTuber,
Yeah.
you got to
So-
check out the Spotify. And if you're a Spotifyer, you got to check out YouTube for the visual gags.
So what I'll say is, if you go through, DVC is worth if you want to be a member of the club. Okay, so you go through, you're like, oh, I can go do this. I can kind of flex on this and say I've got my DVC membership. But also, it's not everybody can afford it. Okay, we realize it is a luxury. Not everybody
I
can afford
cannot.
Disney in general.
I cannot.
Okay, you can afford it more than I can. I'm just
the man with his own points.
I'm not paying my credit cards anymore. You hear that, Visa? No, I'm just kidding. Suckers! Should have never gave me credit. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop! I'm gonna pee my pants.
You're gonna do that anyway. You're getting older. So that went off the rails quick.
This is why we need to start our own school for broadcasting.
And if they're actually listening to this, I was kidding. Please don't close my account. I need to live. So anyhow, here's what I'll say. I think it's beneficial if you're the ultimate Disney fan and you plan on going, I would say multiple times a year. I would not recommend DVC. You're gonna that vein on your head's gonna explode.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh God, she gets that from my mother. She gets a giggle
Oh
fit.
God.
Oh Lord, here come the vapors. Anyway,
Okay. All right, I'm good.
but if you're gonna go multiple times a year or you're gonna really use it, definitely makes sense to it. They've talked about not being able to rent DVC points anymore. They're trying to enforce things, but they never can. It's still the
and
same
that's also
contract.
stupid because
We don't
that's,
need to get into the
right. But I'm
description
saying that's
of
what
that. Yeah.
timeshares people do with timeshares
Yeah.
all the time.
And they're just trying to make it because they realized it was more advantageous for people to rent from there. Disney's always booked up. Look, I'll be honest with you. It's a game right now. Here's the thing. When you go to book your resorts through DVC, everybody's at the switch because once that first day of your
you
vacation
gotta get
hits,
up
you can
at
book
the
for the
crack.
length that you're going to go for
Yeah.
at that day. Now, remember, if somebody's booking you the week before you and it has that date in there, there's things that could be gone. It's the same way when you go to get dining reservations and all.
Right.
Like here, you can make your dining reservations this many days out, 30 days out from your trip, whatever else.
Yeah.
Used to be like.
But
you can
that's
do
why it's
things
important to
lot
be a
further
little
out.
flexible because if somebody's buying in the first 2 dates of your trip or the last 2 dates of theirs, if you can shift a little because it does show you in there.
Reservation systems, especially with Disney, are never like perfect, and I get they try, but it's like if you look at things, everybody's trying to get. You're still laughing. You're still laughing. Gee, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do to help you. There's got to be something that I could do to help.
Okay, keep talking serious stuff. Keep talking information and facts.
All right. So anyway, things that make Gina happy. I like the fact it's just dead air on Spotify. Everybody's listening because You don't see what's going on
The
the screen.
funny
It's
thing is
worth going to
nothing
YouTube.
visual even prompted my laughter. That's just like,
Oh my goodness.
okay. All right, but
Okay.
I was gonna say something too. but
Okay,
you
go ahead. Say it. Say
was gonna
things.
say-
Say things because you're not really saying
I
much.
know. I'm sorry. It was something about booking. You were talking about booking, and I was
Yes,
gonna
it's
say
the amount of
something
time
about
out from it. You have to
booking.
be at the Switch. Things book out quickly. That's why your home resort is important because you have 11 months out to book it. Any other resorts that are not your home resort, it's 7 months out.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the perks. If you buy from resale or you buy from Disney. If you're buying from Disney, you have the ability to book anywhere.
Yeah.
If you buy from resale, you only have what's called
Yeah.
legacy resorts, which is the ones that are out now. Anything future, you won't have the ability
Yeah,
to
which
book
is
at,
so
which
dumb.
is dumb. Let's just be honest.
dumb.
Like Disney, dear Disney.
I hate when
Stop
Disney
being
takes
dumb.
away a perk that costs them nothing. Like,
Exactly.
you know how I feel about that. What I was going to say, though, Josh, perfect example for our trip for November. So, also when you go to book, you can waitlist for things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a 1-bedroom at the boardwalk booked in November. See you guys there. But I really would like a 2-bedroom because of who's coming with me. I would like it. So I had to waitlist myself. And you can put the option of just automatically book it if it comes available. So, okay, great. So that's something else to keep in mind that, you can filter things when you go to look. It'll say, do you want to look at all the Disney resorts? Do you want to just look at specific ones? Do you want to look at only ones that will show you the full length of stay?
And it's also like Olani. And we were talking
Yeah.
about it's not only the
Hilton
Walt
Head, Vero
Disney
Beach.
World and resorts. It's Hilton Head. It's Vero Beach. It's Olani. They also have a partnership in Destinations by Disney, where it's like Adventures by Disney.
Yep.
You can book anywhere in the world using your DVC points.
Yep.
Like there's all kinds of stuff and exchange things, so you can go and use those points not just in Disney. So keep that
Adventures
in
by
mind.
Disney would be also a good, like, get a guest on here who can talk
Yeah.
all about that, like maybe a travel agent
And a
friend.
lot of our travel
because
agent
that's-
friends that we love and adore, if anybody ever wants to come on one of these, when we start doing our Friday night live
Yeah.
streams, when we do those things, we'll get somebody to talk more intelligently about this and not Gina's where you can't understand what Mufasa's saying.
No, but I was going to say, though, somebody that knows about that, because
We're here with Jabba the Hare.
we've never done an
Womma womma.
Adventures by Disney package. And those, what's great about those are you're not just traveling, they're incorporating Disney storytelling into those packages as well. So I'd love to have
Yeah.
somebody on who has booked one of those or experienced one.
I did the whole thing for the Disney travel agent stuff. I went and did the whole thing. Trust me, there's a lot of things you watch, and the Adventures by Disney stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things you
I
can
think
do,
that's
and there's
something
different levels of that.
like
Like I
to-
said, somebody that can be more intelligible about it than what we were going
I
to say.
feel personally attacked.
Yeah. Actually be able to get through a sentence. Anyway, but there are multiple places you can use these things.
Yeah.
But I think for the bang for the buck, yes, it can be worth it if you go and you like the deluxe resorts. You're going to save a little bit. But if you're already going to spend the money to begin with,
Yeah.
why not be a member of it? Because you're getting something extra. If you're most of these people are probably going to be annual pass members. Now that it gets a little more expensive with annual passes, people are opting for like a length of stay that is if they go once a year instead of doing an annual pass because of the fact that you can take your DVC discount instead of your annual pass discount. So if you say it's going to cost me $500 per person for the week
Yep.
instead of over $1,000 for the annual pass.
That's what our sister Danny said.
The
She's like,
Sorcerer's Pass is what's available through the DVC membership. You can buy that
And
with
Florida
DVC,
resident.
and Florida resident can do those things. But for DVC, it's
Sorcerer is available to DVC and Florida resident.
Okay.
Florida resident has like 3 different passes. They all
but
have
I'm
just
not talking
different.
about them. I'm talking about ones that Gen Pop. Forget all what you said. Sick of this. Sick of this
Okay.
podcast.
I have something to say. Let me know when it's my turn.
No, you get no turn. I'm gonna cue Stitch up again. Anyway.
Oh, that's
Anyway, so you can get access to the Sorcerer Pass. You can use that discount in lieu of the annual pass one and save
Right.
some money if you're going, like I
Yep.
said, once a year. I prefer having the annual pass because, again, if you go 2 weeks, it's already worth the money. Plus, if you want to drop in at any other point.
Yeah.
Give you an example. As we record this, 4th of July, I'm on a cruise out of New Jersey, okay? It's a 9-day, and one of the stops that goes down, it stops in Orlando. I feel no need to get off the port, but I was kind of like, I was like, what's opening? Isn't there some other things I can go check out? I think there's some stuff that might be open by then that I can jump off the ship. But I'm like, let's try to get from Port Canaveral to Orlando, get in the park, and then get back to that. No,
Yeah,
I'm missing that ship. Sorry. But it's always that twinge. I'm like, anytime I'm around.
But the spontaneity option is great because this trip that you and I just took, that wasn't something we had on the calendar in the last year.
That was a great trip.
Do you know what I mean, though? And even the one in May.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Hot cookies the best.
I contemplated not renewing my annual this year until we decided to go in May. And then I was like, you know what? If you go twice, it's worth it. But what I was going to say real quick, Josh, which is never real quick. But anyway, what I was going to say is I see a lot of hate, about the Grand Floridian. I see people comment and say it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And my commentary is always like, I feel like I can't speak on what you feel because I'm not paying cash. Now, there was a time we did pay cash back in the day to stay at the Grand Floridian, but I'm not paying cash. So for me, I feel like it's worth it because of the DVC points. So that does factor in, I think, to someone's experience. So what you were saying before about value resorts, I've seen a lot of videos on social recently where people say their hot take is the deluxe is not worth it over the value resort. It's money you could be spending on your trip in another way for a place you're just sleeping. And I get that.
Listen, it's 100. Look at Jarendale, like the one we like following, does like all the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I love the account. Awesome job. Obviously, infinitely more followers than we have, but it's jealous of you. But I love the content. He's tremendously
Jarendale official.
Entertaining, but he stayed at Pop Century was like $153 a night.
Yeah.
And he said, wasn't to him, it's like you could have stayed at the All-Stars and would have been a little bit less than that. But you look at these deluxe resorts, you're talking about most of them are well over $400 to start.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's a big difference, especially when you're going through and saying, oh, okay, you got to go X amount of nights, and you're like, that's
it is
a lot
prestige cost. It's like prestige pricing. It's like the Contemporary is prestigious. The Polynesian's prestigious.
Yeah.
The Grand Floridian, they are. You're on the mind. And Danny says this best because we had a debate once before where Josh was getting on the points thing and was saying we should all stay at the Treehouse Villas. The Treehouse Villas instead of the cabins.
Why do I feel like I'm being trolled here?
The Copper Creek cabins, he was like, because it's so much cheaper to stay at the tree houses. And this is a great point that Danny brought up, is the room is not the only thing that factors into where you stay. The Treehouse Villa transportation, the lack of amenities, the lack of anything specific to that resort is a factor. Where if you're staying other places, don't just think it's where
I will maintain.
You stayed there and said you'd never stay again. So
If
shut
you
up.
go to Treehouse Villas, don't go anywhere else. Just stay there the whole time. Because if you want to be in your yurt in the air, yes.
And they took away the lower level.
Yeah,
That's what kills
the lower
me.
level was great.
When they had the
I like
lower-
that old rickety spiral staircase that used to come back in the day. But if you're not going to go anywhere, great. You can't order anything there. You have to be badged
so
in.
I'm saying, yeah, it may be
The
less points.
only like Uber service and get in there is Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
Is the minivan. They're the only person that can get into the treehouse.
And what do we say about Animal Kingdom? People might be like, why is Animal Kingdom a lower point resort when you've got a freaking savannah there and all the animals? It's because, one, it does have amazing restaurants. So that alone is shocking that it's low points and it is a beautiful place. But the convenience factor is a little different there. Like we said, long hallways because of the way it's laid out, which may not matter to some people. But also it's a further distance from the other resorts. So it's never, when you're looking at points and how to spend them, it's not just going to be about the bed you're sleeping in. Just know that and say, well, why is this one so many more points than this? There's other things. If you're walkable to Epcot, you're going to pay more points. If you're on a monorail line, you're going to pay more points. If you're in an individual structure like the like the bungalows or the cabins, you're going to pay more points. Like, so there's a lot of things that factor into the points system more than just the bed you're sleeping in.
What I hope with this little episode, I guess it's more of a serious episode than one's, but even though Gina couldn't keep it together.
I was just thinking to myself, remember when I thought this episode was too serious? Well, that took a turn.
You really fixed that. Our goal was just to tell you a little bit about DVC. I encourage everybody to research it, go look at things. They have all kinds of stuff they'll send you too.
Yeah.
The other part of it is membership beyond. If you're a member now, they have something you pay $100. You can use. You get little extra perks. And also at McKim's in Magic Kingdom
Priority.
and in Epcot for
Imagination.
like the different lounges. It gives you priority service over everybody else. So if you pay that $100, plus you can use your points. If you had a lot of points, it's not really worth it to use your points unless you have a lot of them to exchange for like passes into
For
the
annual
thing.
pass or
so it's like
renewal of a pass.
75 points will get you an annual pass.
65 to renew, 75 to buy.
Yes.
But also you can use it for, I think they let you have like a memory maker for 30 days, which is kind of dumb because depending on when you're going, that doesn't really work. That's not a huge perk to me.
Well, that's why I said
And then you
encourage
can buy
everybody
one-time use points also.
Yes.
There's like a thing where you can buy them for like something cheap. I
Yeah.
feel like.
So if you want to do that, again, look into it. They'll send you the little membership magic stuff or whatever it might be, and the little what is it? The little, I would say tutorials, not tutorial. It's a brochure.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll send you a brochure thing out, whole thing about here's Disney Vacation Club, blah blah. You can get that feeling little package in the mail, whatever else they used to send out.
I feel like don't you get is it for their annual pass or DVC that you get
Disney
the free
files.
the Disney files, a
Disney
free
file
subscription,
stuff. Which I just got. They gave us a magnet this time.
Oh, did they? I got mine. I haven't opened it.
Yeah, it's in the thing. It's
What
like
kind
a
of
little
magnet
magnet.
is it? A Disney Vacation Club magnet?
It's no.
Because I got mine. It's still in the pack. I haven't opened it yet.
You know what? I'm gonna be. Me and Rachel were talking about that on Instagram. So
yeah?
it's like a shout out Rachel.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Shout out Rachel. I
again,
have to mail
this
her
is
my
just
Maleficent magnet.
this is just again a little foray into DVC. I stand behind it as a good decision I made for my family and our.
And
family
I
as a
stand
whole.
behind it as a good decision our dad made back in 1998 for our family.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I would recommend it to people, but again, be cautious what you can afford. If it makes sense to you, don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. Make sure it makes sense to your
If you
wallet.
love Disney and you've ever thought about having a vacation home down there, I'm not saying that's the choice over it, but for me, if you have the kind of money to consider doing that, this may be a good choice for you. Because if I physically had the money myself and was like, I would pick that and
now,
say,
a lot of the discounts are very mirrored to what annual pass discounts are.
I can't keep track though. Sometimes they're like, oh, your DVCs are better. Oh, your annual pass is better. I'm like, I don't know what the
I think they
discount
just
is
make it up
half
on the
the
spot.
time.
At any rate. But this was just to let you guys know a little bit. Let's move on to our shout outs. Shout out. All right. So this week I'm going to shout out because DVC. I'm going to shout out Doug. Yep. Doug was one of the people we met in there. I'm like, Linda is actually my DVC rep now. Like she's my, they don't call it handler or something like that, but like she's my resort person now.
Liaison.
Yes. Yeah. So Linda, and then we'll shout out Celeste from way back in the day that I know our sister Missy used to talk with her. I remember calling, just as a sidebar, calling DVC one time. And it was weird because this was way back when I was first thinking about this. Again, this is years and years ago. And we have a certain amount of points. And so we won't go into how many points we have on that our old man bought a long time ago. But I remember calling Celeste and said, I'm interested in purchasing Disney Vacation Club. She runs the thing in my name and where the connections come in. She goes, you need more points? And she was like kind of dumbfounded. But it was funny that she knew because people know certain accounts on there and she was responsible for that. I just thought it was funny that I got the same.
I just
DVC
joined
rep.
for the free stickers.
Yeah, I just go because, I love, the
Fun fact though, if you have little kids, if you walk by a DVC booth, they almost always have some kind of sticker.
They got stickers.
Give you
Oh,
for
that's the
your
other
kids.
thing they'll give you too, is they'll give you some stuff. Sometimes they have a little giveaway here, but then now they scan your badge because the biggest thing was the Magic Band sliders. Everybody wanted the Disney Vacation Club little slider. I'll be honest with you, I'm not down with Disney LoJack where they've got like the little bands. I don't want to feel like I've got, my LoJack on my wrist or something like I'm a prisoner. I'm just not big on that. I have a little key fob thing I put in my pocket. It still tracks the same way. I just don't have to wear it on my wrist.
That's funny you say that because I was just thinking today about how I wish they'd make a Magic Band watch because I would wear mine every single day. It makes me happy to wear a Magic Band.
Well, some people do the little things where they take the puck from it and they put it on their Apple Watch.
Same,
They put it on the little Apple Watch or something like that. Shout out to the and also shout out to the Etsy creators and people that do the 3D prints that make those types of things.
No, I just want an actual Magic Band watch. A smart Magic Band.
Well, I'm going to go through and make sure we mention our sponsor, Theme Park Chuckle. Go on themeparkchuckle.com, grab you a funny Disney-based t-shirt or two, much like this Trader Sam's Diabetes Tiki Bar, with drinks this sweet, you'll lose your feet. Shout out to Theme Park Chuckle. Thanks for the sponsorship. And, so this has been another great installment of Not So Serious Talk with Josh and Gina, also known as Bring Back the Magic Podcast. Gina, tell people things.
Well, we appreciate you being here, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, however you found us. Please know that there are many episodes that you can check out. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram and you can find us on TikTok at BBT Magic Podcast. We also do have a Facebook. But please make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Hit that notification bell if you are on YouTube. Hit follow if you're on Spotify. And we just really appreciate you guys being along for the ride in our podcast adventure. We have a great time talking to you guys, interacting with you guys, and I hope you guys can feel the support that we like to return your way as well.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I forgot. I'll be remiss if I didn't shout out one more person. This little guy. And if you can't see because you're listening on Spotify, there is a lovely little blue goblin attacking
I
Gina.
can't.
Look
it's
how
mirrored.
adorable
I
he
can't
is.
See, it's like a weird
He's
exchange.
adorable.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
bottom line. Bottom line is he's adorable. I'm sorry.
Whatever. My Stitch is as good as my drama hood.
Ridiculous. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Bring Back the Magic podcast. Please watch your head and step as you exit the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.